We're here today to talk about real estate.
Hello and welcome back to the Real Estate Unlimited podcast. My name is Sarah Steinmetz.
I'm Brian Schuby.
I'm Carrie Steele.
I'm Bill Jones.
And we're the Jones Home Team.
Welcome back. It is episode number 8 of the Real Estate Unlimited podcast. Today we're changing it up just a little bit here. We're going to each pick different topics, kind of go over that from there. I've got the answers to trivia question from episode 7. You have to wait till the end for that. We got some new questions. Topics today. Do people want to do the work? Carrie's going to tackle that. A lot of people say, hey, I want to do the work myself, so we'll see what that looks like. Brian's tackling home improvements that add value. I'm going to look at curb appeal. Mow your effing lawn. It's not what you think. And Sierra's looking at marry the house and date the decor. But before we get started, if you've been watching us this long, please make sure to like, subscribe, do all the things, follow us on the socials. Carrie, what do you got then? Do people want to do the work?
I think people want to do the work until they have to do the work, right?
Well, so just to back up, so everybody talking about doing the work. So
sure.
You see a house that has some bumps and bruises, and then
So as a real estate agent, when I'm going in and I'm showing a home to somebody, people are looking for generally turnkey houses. They say they want a fixer-upper, but what they mean by that is they want to maybe add new pools to the cabinet or, paint the bathroom. They don't really want the type of fixer-upper. If it says it's a fixer-upper, you're talking about maybe a potential new roof, new wiring, things like that. So in the MLS terms of a fixer-upper, you're looking at some pretty significant upgrades. So do people want to do the work? So about 73% of the people that were surveyed said that they would consider a fixer-upper because of the lower listing price. And most people in that regard would say about 70,000 up to 90,000 worth of renovations. Now, what does that look like? Does that look like them getting in there themselves and painting and doing carpet and things like that? Or is it hiring it out?
It was 70 to 90,000?
70,000 to 90,000 in renovations, which around here, that's pretty significant.
Sure.
But if you're looking at a price point home in a larger city where, the starting price of homes is $350,000, $400,000, then that, that price point adjusted locally would probably be what, $25,000 more like?
Yeah. Yes, and I love the fixer-upper or as-is. A lot of times people they see as-is and like, oh, I'll get a deal. And not so. It's, sure, it's a deal, but you're going to put $70,000, $90,000 into. There's that place on Erie we've looked at a couple times and too that was, it's going to need significant work. A lot of people want to go look at it until they see what it needs done.
Yeah, that's the majority of buyers, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like there's a lot of people or a lot of clients that I've been working with that lately here, they just don't want to do any work at all. They just want to be able to move right in.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't think people have the time that they used to.
Yeah.
Also, where you work a 9 to 5 and you come home and eat dinner and then you have the whole rest of the night. People have so many side hustles and, kids in sports and volunteer and civic organizations that they're involved in that I just don't think they have the time. So it's like you either have the time or you have the money. But to be able to say, oh, I'm going to put this much money into a house, I just don't know as many people are doing it as allowing those professionals to completely do it and then
also
buy it.
Important to remember as far as we'll get a lender in here to talk more about it, but there are specific loans out there that are for home renovations and stuff like that then as well.
That's what I was going to talk about, just having the funds available. It just seems like everybody has that grand idea or they're going to do the work or that wouldn't be that bad, but it's like coming up with
that's right.
$5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to do it. Most people don't have that cash to do it then. So,
or I think a lot too, if someone does it one time and they realize, well, they're already in pretty deep, so they have to finish it out. But then they're like, I will never do that ever again. That was awful. It's like having another full-time job.
Is that a personal experience yet or no?
Maybe.
That's poor Kelly, and I've done that to her twice now. We've had 2 houses where we'll be in and out of this house in a couple of years, and 10 years later, on like each one of them, it took to get through it, and it wasn't finally done until we put the for sale sign in the yard. So all these projects that were going to take 6 months or a year turned into
getting done in a month.
Shout out.
And it took a decade to get there. Then you finally get them done right before you sell the property.
Exactly.
Too,
You'll get a chance to enjoy those renovations because you're doing it to sell, not to live in and enjoy.
Yeah, you live in a disaster for years, and then it finally turns into something, and you're out then.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I think fun to me. Yeah, I think it's the energy and the money both that people just stall out on then too, where they end up living in that mess or that project, which causes stress in real life then too. It's not just like, oh, I'm not going to get the value out of my house. Well, now you're arguing with the significant other and the kids are living in a mess, and if it's my kids are running around with the hammers and the saws, this stuff that doesn't get done.
Great life skills though.
Right. And then doing it yourself versus hiring it, there's a significant cost difference then too. How many times we've got contractors in a place, sounds like a great idea, and then they get the price tag.
Yeah, the price tag, or maybe they're not that great and you have to end up hiring somebody else, or you're living in a construction zone for longer than you thought, or they don't.
Or you end up doing more of the work yourself after you pay.
I was going to say, even trying to find contractors is hard just because they're all so busy. It's hard to even find somebody that would be willing to do it or willing to tackle it, especially a lot of the smaller jobs,
Sure. It's not a major renovation.
Yeah, small trim or something like that. It's not, unless it's a room addition or something like that, it's hard to find somebody to actually want to do the work.
Yeah.
We just ran into that with our carpet. I know you guys are tired of hearing about my carpet story, but my mom installed carpet in her farmhouse down in Mount Vernon, so Amish country, obviously, and she paid $5,000 for carpet. And I looked at her, I'm like, wait, what kind of carpet did you get?
Gold-plated
did
carpet.
Did it have gold flakes in it? So then I'm like, well, I'm going to one-up her, Mom, I'm going to go get a really good deal. So we went and bought the carpet stretchers, and we bought, all the things.
Oh, my Lord, really?
Yeah, we have everything. That's why I told Zira we have what
Wow.
we need to do the carpet. And we have never done carpet. We've done flooring and a lot of other things. So I thought, Bobby and I can do it. And the cost, like you said, the cost versus what it is to hire. And, you get halfway through that job and you're like, yeah, I would have paid $5,000 for somebody to do this carpet.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a major skill. I've watched that done. There's some real technique to that.
And, you guys have all probably seen carpet where it hasn't been properly stretched, and then you've got all the
the wrinkles in it.
Wrinkles. And I'm like, we will not have wrinkles in our carpet. But like to Brian's point, we did actually go to some of these big box stores and ask, hey, when can we get somebody in here to have carpet done professionally? We couldn't find anybody. So unless we went locally to a specific carpet place and said, we want to pay X amount of dollars for this room to be carpeted, which it was like over 21 feet room, like I don't want to eat that cost right now. Let's see if we can do it. So
wow. All right, so as far as, I guess we could probably talk all day on this then too. My experience, do people want to do the work? I guess generally no, they don't.
No.
Again, I sound like the old guy here, but once upon a time everybody was looking for that. Like when they're willing to buy a house, they were willing to do the work. Whether they did it or not, it's a different story, but they would buy it. But like Brian, you mentioned, most people I think just want done.
Yep.
They don't want to pay for it. They don't want to pay for done because then they look at what they pay for it versus what they're asking for it, and they try to do that math gymnastics in their head, like somehow they're going to get a good deal on it, but that goes to what the public's willing to pay for it then. So.
And is it done right?
Right, yeah. That's that old expression, lipstick on a pig.
Yep.
Is it actually done? Is it done right?
Yep.
Or is it just literally,
the things you're looking at, not the the plumbing, heating, those sorts of things that are kind of hidden. Yep.
Yeah, we don't. You'll get into this, Brian, here, but we don't run into this too much anymore. It used to be for a long time people would buy a foreclosed house, paint it, do the cabinets, and then they're done. And people would walk in and say, oh, this is fantastic. No, the furnace is shot, the hot water heater is barely holding together.
Wiring.
Yeah, the wiring's ancient and awful. The roof sucks.
Foundation walls crumble.
Yeah, but they're like, oh my gosh, look at this kitchen. It's
all
amazing.
gray with gray carpet.
Yeah, when they get the new carpet, it looks nice, but the bones are, and that's where a lot of those would fall apart when they finally got a home inspection or, Uncle Bob to come over and check it out then. So thankfully, I can't think of too many properties that are, the lipstick on the pig currently, but watch out for those. Those aren't fun. Anybody else got any comments there? Move on to the next one. Brian, you got some home improvements that add value. What's the best bang for your buck here? We got a chart. We'll link a lot of the stuff up here below then too. If wherever you're watching or listening, we'll have these links to a lot of the stuff. But you got a 2024 remodeling returns chart we're looking at.
Yep, I got a couple of links in the chart there. So I guess one question you guys, which Bill kind of threw me under the bus here, but some of the what were you guys thinking some of the things were that were the biggest return on investment for your home? I mean, anybody have any ideas?
I would say more big ticket items, just actually updating the internal infrastructure. But if we're just talking about like aesthetics wise, which I don't know if if you.
Yeah, it kind of goes over the things I kind of have here. Kind of go over as far as structural or as far as even as little as garage door replacement. I think just looking at some of the facts and stuff here.
Yeah, 193%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
garage. It seems garage door. Something as little as garage door replacements have a huge return on in your investment. Then, and it kind of goes to you don't have to do a full kitchen remodel or something like that if you're looking to sell and get the biggest bang for your buck. Something as little as a garage door replacement, or I know a couple of the links that I have on there as well. Those even just doing a stainless or a steel front door, have a huge return then as well.
I've always heard kitchens and baths. I mean, maybe that's an outdated thing, but
I think that still holds true.
Yeah, and then so somebody puts $100,000 into the kitchen, but then the deck's falling apart or the front door wood is all rotted off. And so I think, yes, kitchens and bathrooms are important, but also just the general maintenance of the home and those big ticket items like the roof, the furnace, air conditioner.
Yeah, I think
things like
curb. Sarah's going to get to this then as well. Curb appeal goes, a long way then as well as far as just chipping and peeling paint. Tidying those things up before you go to sell. I think helps significantly.
Yeah, I agree.
Or even like tearing up an old crappy floor, even if it's just in a smaller room. It's one less thing that they're going to look at and say, oh, that looks like crap. If you just put something new down or you kind of refurbish it in a way that it's kind of embellishes it a little bit, so that's one less thing they can add to the list of what they hate.
And another one that kind of surprised me was the stone veneer. That had a huge ROI, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was way up. I just found your chart and the one link here. Yeah, garage door, new entry door, and then a stone veneer are the top three.
Yep. Which to me, instead of remodeling a full kitchen where it could go $40,000-$50,000, a garage door, entry door, or even stone veneer, maybe $5,000-$10,000 is, as far as getting your return on your investment is quite a savings instead of trying to remodel a whole kitchen.
So if I'm looking at this chart here then too, so it looks like you're getting positive ROI on that. A new garage door, new entry door, stone veneer. But then right away you go into like we're talking, Carrie, kitchens and baths, you're losing money almost immediately. You're not losing a ton. New siding, deck addition, bathroom remodel, HVACs here, like you're talking about then too, which I feel super important. I guess just being the old guy, like that's the stuff that's important.
Yeah.
That's going to cost you some serious money, that kind of hidden thing. But yeah, when people ask, what can I do to my house? Am I going to add value? Sure, it's adding value, but you're not getting the ROI. And I think that's really what they're asking.
If I recall correctly, one of the links that we had on there, you put I think it was like $42,000 is the average cost of a new kitchen, and the return on investment was only like 37. So yes, you have a new kitchen. However, the ROI isn't. You're still technically, like Bill said, losing money. Whereas I think like the garage door and some of those items, they only cost you, $2,000 or $3,000, and you're getting $4,000 back. Yep.
Which I think you said, Carrie, curb appeal immediately.
Huge.
Yeah, you see that. You're looking at from fresh perspective then. The stone veneer, the entry doors, all three of those are curb appeal for sure. I got some cool pictures on some of the others. I usually tell people if they're going to do that stuff, if they have some time to enjoy it. If you're doing it to sell the house and make money, probably not so much, but if you're doing it and you can live in a house for another 2, 3, 5 years, which doesn't do us real estate agents any good right now, we want to sell yesterday, but if they're there and can enjoy it, that makes sense. But if they're losing money on a kitchen or an HVAC thing, and like that, do they replace the old furnace? I guess my advice generally is if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
If it's ancient and on its last legs, might be another story. But if it's something that doesn't need done, buyer just wants a furnace that runs, a roof that's not leaking. Do they want a new one? Sure, but do they have to have it? Is that a requirement? No.
And I think it's important, as far as hiring a good real estate agent, they'll be able to help walk through the home with you and determine what items you should and shouldn't fix them.
Yeah.
Right, and I think your money can be best spent in a lot of different, we're talking as far as return on investment. So we're talking from a seller's perspective on a lot of this stuff. I think we'll look at, where you can put your dollars that'll make the most sense. And unfortunately, I think a lot of it goes with the curb appeal. It doesn't go to the furnace, unfortunately, but...
And cleaning, just general. I saw this. She was probably a real estate influencer, and she was on her hands and knees scrubbing the frame that went around the front door. And she's like, this doesn't seem like a big deal with the white trim and the dirt, but if they neglect this, what else are they neglecting in the home? So,
right.
Yeah, curb appeal, and then just general maintenance in general.
All right. Brian, you got any more with that? I guess we got quite a few links we'll share with people then too, but that was a cool chart.
Yeah.
We'll try to find that graphic. I lost it. wherever it was. But yeah, we'll link that chart up then below then so you guys can see that on all those different websites. So, Carrie, yours kind of leads right into mine, the curb appeal. Mow your effing lawn. So mow your funky lawn is what it is. So get your mind out of the gutter. A couple things. I had a lot of different websites. My own knowledge using ChatGPT, my new friend, as far as best list to do that. So fix and flip or getting ready to sell. So I think you kind of look at that then too. Are you truly doing a fix and flip? Are you looking to get your ROI? Are you just getting your home ready to sell? So these kind of cover a lot of that. So my top 10 list, I won't do a drum roll because that's annoying, but it can never be clean enough, to your point, Carrie. Depersonalization and decluttering, which leads right into less is more. I love telling people that. Like you don't need 1,000. You're living in a house versus selling your house is totally different. Paint goes a long way, which I got an awesome website. I'm going to show you what that looks like. They've literally painted most of the house, and it looks like a new place, and just manually paint. Minor repairs make a big difference. Carrie and I just talked about this. Change your light bulbs, people. Get those busted, burnout light bulbs. That just makes a huge difference, and it goes to the dirt and things like that. You walk into a room, you're showing it, especially getting later in the year. Flip on the lights in the living room, and 1 out of the 4 bulbs works, and one's blinking or doesn't.
Ceiling fan shaking.
Yeah, like that just leaves a terrible impression on people. That first impression, you can't see the room, especially when it's getting darker. Light bulbs are cheap. Like just change those things. That's easy. I guess my advice would be, if you're selling your house, you live in it, you kind of start overlooking a lot of that stuff. You don't look at it from a fresh perspective. I'm a buyer go out to the front yard, look at your house. What does it look like? What are you missing? Oh yeah, the gutters are overflowing. The leaves are out of control. Because that's what a buyer's going to see. The dirt, the dirty door, that needs
the
painted.
dust on top of the ceiling fans.
Yeah.
I feel targeted right now.
right. Yeah, that'd be my house
Carpet's
too.
made a mess.
Yeah. So right in the next one. First impressions matter. Enhance the curb appeal. Look like a buyer would for the first time. Stage key rooms. We don't do a ton of staging, but I think that kind of goes along with decluttering and getting less is more. Kind of showcasing what a room is looking like. Like my house, some of the rooms, my office is currently set up as our catch-all junk room. It's not an office, but if I was going to sell my house, it'd look like an office, and so you want to make sure it looks like what it's supposed to. Professional photography versus just getting okay pictures. So, and again, not that we're professional photographers, but we take pretty good pictures. We have access to great equipment. We have some people that'll do that. Setting the right price, and we've talked about this before, and we can get into it deeper then too. But people, if they see the potential in something, like I'm selling my house, well, if they just did this, it'd be worth more. Well, if that's fine, do it then. It's not worth more just because it has the potential to do that. A buyer's buying the place, they're going to have to put the time and money into that then. And then creating a welcoming atmosphere for showing. So when people walk in the door, again, are the light bulbs out? Does it smell okay? Does it, did you change the cat box? Did you whatever? Just make sure it's got an inviting appeal. I don't think you have to make cookies or bake a pie before every showing, or not that a lot of people do that, I don't think, but the first showing or two maybe, but then after that, just make sure you got the dirty laundry off the floor maybe. If you do a quick search, I'll kind of go quick here. I got a bunch of websites. I'll link all these up then. I just Google search home flips before and after, and an absolute mountain of these pop up here. So if you're listening, you can't see it here, but if you're watching, you might be able to see this then too. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. So this is one, I think this is a couple houses here where they kind of had a before and after. So I think something like this could be simple and easy. They literally just cleaned the yard up then too. They painted the fence. They added actually they didn't need add a deck. They just stained the deck, just cleaned it up, made it look nice. I've seen a million homes and bedrooms like this. They got their weird accent wall, the doors that aren't done. So some simple flooring, paint, some lighting. Looks like a brand new place.
And it looks way nice and bright too.
Yeah, looks amazing then. So then we've got another one here too. We've all seen these kind of places then as well. The old fireplace. Doesn't look too bad, but some new color, some new paint. Is that the paint colors you picked out, Sierra? No, not quite. The old busted kitchen. Again, just stuff all over the place. A new backsplash, some, cleaning up the floor. I don't think they did a whole lot other than paint the cabinets, change the hardware, put some backsplash up, and it looks like a brand new place, maybe a new light fixture. So I don't think it'd be too much. So one other thing, an important note to remember is that flipping is that you'll always go over budget. So that came up multiple times then too, to where it's, you're always going to go over budget.
My husband's not going to like that comment, Bill.
Right, yeah, always. And I found that to be the
Brian's
same thing.
in that position right now, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, when we build a house, it was the exact same thing. So you guys, you're building, Brian. I mean, you've figuring in some fudge room there for...
Yeah, a little bit. It seems like everything that we absolutely love is the most expensive thing
outrageous.
we can buy.
Yeah.
That was the same when we built. It was the exact same thing. The siding, of course, was a premium choice. The flooring was a premium choice. Everything you actually wanted was going to be more. Here was one. This was a major renovation, and we're trying to focus. You can do the major renovations, but I think just doing simple stuff, like we've all discussed, is probably your best return. It's stuff you can do yourself. It's cost effective. Here's one: original purchase price of $638,000, renovation cost $278,000, which in our price point, $278,000 is a pretty nice house. Selling price $1.3 million, but they went from this to that.
Yeah.
So
that's
I mean,
crazy.
that's just like a brand new house. I don't know if it'd been cheaper just to rip it down and start over, maybe, but so you don't see a whole lot of stuff like that. That's kind of the TV show stuff. I won't go through all of these, but I'll include the link here. 50 DIY home improvement projects, kind of what we're talking about, getting rid of some of the wallpaper. Brian, what you're saying about garage doors, this said not even necessarily replacing a garage door, but adding these carriage, like the hardware, which is magnetic. So they sell these magnetic things you can slap on there and makes it look like a brand new garage for the most part. So we'll look at some of that. Here's a couple cool ones. This and the next one is a house start to finish. So this is one house from Brighter Green Door. I'm not sure who these people are here, but again, a before and after. I think this really helps them as well. Just doing cleaning up the front yard. And I think this is the one they did it for $10,000. The entire house then is what they did. So again, before and after, we've all seen houses like this, the old
wood paneling. Thank you.
You know what I mean? Just cleaning it. It was literally just paint is all they did. Paint and flooring, a little bit of staging. Kitchen, same thing. Paint, new hardware. It looks like they still have the same busted old refrigerator and stuff like that in there. Maybe they reorganized that. Dining room, new flooring, some paint, new light fixture. Looks 100 times better. Living room, same thing. I think it's the other side of the living room, kind of before and after. Old wood paneling, and it's still the same wood paneling. It's just painted. It looks bright, new, and nice. Painted the fireplace, bedrooms. I don't even know if they did new flooring. Wasn't a whole lot there. And then another page here then too. Yeah, that one was done for, I think, a total of $10,000. So if you put, people ask, well, what can I do? That's generally what it is. And, you just put a little bit of money, time, and effort into it. But I don't think a lot of people do. They just don't have the time for it, or they run out of energy pretty quick. Like you've mentioned, Carrie, you come home from work, it's hard to, okay, I'm already exhausted. Yeah, I'm going to start a new project altogether. This was another flip. I've seen a million of these houses. You walk in and they need quite a bit. Somebody's neglected the house. It's probably a foreclosure house. All nice and new paint, new flooring. Same thing, paint, flooring, some backsplash, new countertop. This isn't a $50,000 kitchen remodel. You're probably talking, this is a $5,000 to $10,000 kitchen job, I would think, probably at most, because the cabinets are the same, hardware is different, the countertop's probably the most expensive part they put in there, maybe some new appliances. But if you're showing this house to somebody versus that house, I think that's a night and day difference. I think you're gonna have people fighting over this one versus not so much on the next. Then bathroom, same thing. So you get the idea. And then there's the front of the house. I kind of like that, to where it's not, I think they just painted it, cleaned it up, put some flowers up there, and it's a totally different looking house. So which one's going to get people excited? The one that has, the fresh coat of paint and is nice and new. So, that's my trivia one. I can't really see that. We'll come back to that. But I'll link all those up below then. But I guess what's your guys' thoughts? So as far as my little list, I think cleaning, super important. I don't think you can clean enough.
Yeah. I think it's one of those, you don't have to go out and spend $1 million to increase your home's value. I think, you can stick to the small things, and, I think that's going to help.
Yep.
I was going to say, too, especially with the holidays coming up, a huge thing, if you have holiday decor that's, like, tasteful and whatnot, but it's simple and not too niche, that you can set up and just kind of give the room that extra little twinkle, a little holiday spirit, whatnot. That's huge, too. Same with, like, exterior as well. You can do that.
Right. But if Christmas is your jam and you have everything, you're looking at Clark Griswold. I don't know if you want to go quite that crazy then too, but holidays are a fantastic time for really showcase your house if it's looking good. Cleaning up, less is more. I lean on those two more than anything. So people want to know, they want these big projects or want these price tags. What can I get an ROI? But it really comes down to just cleaning, getting rid of some of the stuff. And depersonalization, you know, all the shows talk about that. Like if it's, you know, my dear old grandmother's house, there's a million pictures up everywhere, you know, paintings and a million grandkids and things like that. That's a little bit much, but does that mean you need to, you know, whitewash your house and there's nothing in there, no picture? I don't think so. I think you can still leave a lot of stuff up as long as it's not taking the house over.
I've seen that where actually people are more likely to buy because they recognize the person in the picture, whether it's a big no-no,
Oh,
like
sure.
you're supposed to remove, you know, pictures of yourself and whatever. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, you know, da da da.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, okay, now they really like it. And before they just kind of liked it, but apparently those people have an influence over them. So
I do it all the time.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I go into listings. I usually look at the family picture. Do I know these
Yeah.
people or not? So, but that's, I mean, I could talk all day about all these. I got tons of links on here then too, but I'll share all those. We get the idea. You know, you can do the major whole home remodel, which I can't think of too many around here that have been like this, that have been huge projects. But I think just the simple things go a long way for that.
yeah, and I think like we talked about, Bill, before, if the location is pertinent and you're in a desirable area, I think that's where a full remodel like that would make sense. But in most rural or sub-rural areas, if that's what I'm trying to say, then I don't know that you'll get that return on investment. It would just be for the livability of you're going to live there for 20, 30, 40 years.
And that's a great point too. I think where you go, where it is, it makes a huge difference then too. You end up with the nicest house on the block
Right.
syndrome then, which we have one of those listings now in the office to where it's just a great house, over improved for the neighborhood probably, and you're just not going to get the money back out of it as you would. You know, I think if you're buying a house to invest, you probably want to buy the worst house on the
Yeah.
block and improve it. You
Yeah.
know, again, a lot of factors go into that, but yeah, if you over improve for a neighborhood, you're kind of stuck with it. Then you're not going to get that money back out of it. So, all right, well, we'll put a pin in that one. Sierra, what do you got there? We are talking marry the house, date the decor.
Yeah, so I kind of split this up into two sections. As a buyer, like from a buyer's perspective, how you can kind of go into it. It might be considered the ugly house because it's got grandma's furniture and the wood paneling all over, and it just looks kind of dark and dusty and not super desirable. But because of this, it's maybe not going to be considered a hot property, but maybe grandma and grandpa really knew how to take care of their house too. So the house itself is amazing. Internally, everything's great, taken care of, well maintained over the years. You just need to give it a little bit of love on the inside.
Right.
But because that's not preferable to the consumer, you might get your house for a lower price than, even though it's just as good quality as a hot property, maybe better, but it just needs kind of a facelift. And so you just kind of have to step past that as you're walking through. And when you look at all the bones of it and whatnot and see that, oh, this was all actually pretty well taken care of over the course of the last 40 years while they were living here. And this is actually a pretty good deal for us then. You know what I mean?
I think that goes into the best part of it, like we talked earlier then too. So grandma and grandpa probably have a new furnace and probably have a new
Right.
hot water heater and
New
a water
roof.
softener.
Rough,
you know.
gutters, they've kept the water away from the house, all those things.
So it's maybe not up to date decor wise, but
Yeah.
the mechanics are generally, I mean, not always, but a lot of times those are going to be kept up. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And at the same rate, ugly is not unlivable. Like, just because it doesn't look the way that you want it to doesn't mean that you can't. If you need to move, you need to find a place to live and you have to move in. That's fine, because if you're just doing paint or just freshening things up, you can do it room by room if needed. And so you can live wherever you need to live. And then it's obviously not ideal to have to move stuff out or whatever and do it room by room. But if that's the case, you can already start investing in this home and just do it as you go and as your budget or your time and your schedule allows you to be able to do that. And so eventually, within a certain amount of time, which it would have taken a while anyways, to get it exactly the way you wanted it, you're going to have exactly what you want in your house. You just have to do it on whatever schedule works for you, and you might be getting a better bang for your buck because of it.
Yeah, I love that. You probably get it bought better. You can do it when you have time allows, and then you're going to get a better return on investment then too when you're able to do some of that.
It's a little less competitive usually too. Like,
Right.
not everyone is going for the house that looks like it needs a ton of work, when in reality it's not that much. It's just a little bit of time, money, and effort when you have the opportunity to do that.
One thing I forgot to talk about when I was in my presentation was customization, because I think of the houses that are fully painted and you walk in and you're like, wow, this is really nice. But is grayish through the entire place really me? Is
Like,
it really
for
what
me,
I want?
I hate that.
Right.
You making fun of my house right now because it's all gray. All
Is it
gray and
agreeable
white.
gray?
Yeah,
Right.
it's all gray and white, all of it. So.
But I mean, but for me personally, like my taste and my style is totally different. So even though that turnkey house looks amazing, the first thing I'm going to do is go in and paint that office teal or
Right.
peacock or whatever, you know? So that's another thing too, is customization. And yes, it's brown paneling, but now you can make it whatever color you want versus
Exactly.
whatever somebody, when they flipped the house, they did everything gray,
Right.
khaki, whatever.
Yep.
And that was exactly my next point with customization.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting that lower price point home because the decor and the interior isn't
Yeah.
top of the line, you have more room in your budget then to make it exactly the way you want it to be.
Oh, yeah.
You
New
can
garage
customize
door,
it.
stone veneer.
Yeah.
Yes, and you get to do your little DIY YouTube videos to do it for the cheapest cost yourself,
Yeah.
instead of it
Oh, yeah.
walking into it not really being exactly what you'd maybe want in a house.
YouTube,
so.
my best friend. That's
Yeah.
you can use that for.
Hey,
you can literally
now
find a
that's-
video for everything.
Like carpet
Exactly.
stretching and how to tuck corners
Yeah.
of carpets.
And then I just wanted to touch on, from a realtor side, when you walk into a house that maybe needs a little bit of TLC, understanding how to help your client visualize and having a basic knowledge of stylistic trends and also timeless stylistic choices and stuff like that. You don't need to be an interior designer, but at least having an idea of what is preferable to the consumer. And so then
Sure.
you can kind of put those ideas in their head of, oh, well, if you just did a new flooring here, or if you just repainted this room, blah, 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 like it'll open it up. It'll be so much brighter. And kind of just talking about easy fixes and whatnot. Just kind of out with the old, in with the new, but not tearing out everything. Just
Right.
giving it a nice little
A
facelift.
facelift,
Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked a couple times then too about the 80-10-10 rule. So if somebody's looking to buy a house, it's 80% of what you want is never going to be 100%. 10% of stuff that you can fix or do, and then 10% you can just deal with, which I think deals with a lot of things: home buying, investing,
Marriage.
marriage. Yeah, Kelly, it's probably not so much an 80-10-10, probably more like a 50-40-10 for her. You know, she fixed a lot, so.
But I think that's true even with a new build, because if you go to a new build supplier and they have a book and they open it up and there's 24 different roof colors and you're like, well, I really wanted copper and it's not in there. You know, you're
Right.
still dealing with, you get, you know, the pick of the litter, but you don't get exactly what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of touch on this here then too, or maybe you carry with colors and things like that. Is gray boring, or could it be, or whatever the color is, just something safe? Sure.
Yeah.
But if you're going from old busted paneling,
Yeah.
any color's better. Like, because
Yeah.
people say, well, maybe the next person would want to pick their own color. Well, if it needs it,
Yeah.
just get some paint on there.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
do agree with that.
And, you
yeah.
know, if they want to do the peacock colors or whatever, they can do that then at that point. But I think some things you can get away with, like maybe letting slide. But if it needs painted, get it painted.
Well, because
Yeah.
the gray, the agreeable gray or the accessible beige, those are all going to trend better in photos, and it's going to appeal to more people than the peacock. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
tread lightly when I say that, but the customization thing for me is huge because I'm a little outside of the box.
All right. Let's go. So we've been on here long enough here. Let's wrap this up here. So, all right. So I got a couple new questions, and I've got our answer from last week. So question last week is, what is the average percentage return on investment for a successful home flip in the United States? So what's the average return on investment? No, I'm sorry. I went to the wrong one here. That's this week's question. Last week's question, I'm sorry. What percentage of homes sold in the U.S. in 2023 were sold using a real estate agent? That was a question. So what percentage of homes sold in 2023 use a real estate agent? Do you guys remember what your guesses were?
I think mine was like 63 or something because I was factoring in things like foreclosures and all that.
I don't remember when I said
I don't remember
auctions.
either.
I don't remember either.
Okay. Well, the correct
could be
answer is
wrong.
88%. So 88%
88.
of homes sold in the U.S. in 2023 were sold utilizing a real estate agent.
Woohoo.
So pretty
Go
high.
Realtors.
Yeah, that's way up there. Okay, so this week, question for you guys. And it's right here. Don't read the words here yet. Then too. What was the highest recorded profit made on a single home flip in the United States? So what was the single highest recorded profit made on a single home flip in the U.S.? Again, according to
gonna be-
ChatGPT.
I'm freaking thinking about
searching the
Vanilla
web.
Ice flipping the mansion
Yes, yeah.
down.
What was the name of his
Golly,
show?
I
It was.
don't remember.
It was.
I did not know
he did
that
some
was a
really
thing.
Vanilla Ice. Oh, he did some awesome flips. Yeah.
A percentage, right? Not a dollar.
No dollar amount.
21 point something million.
I'm gonna go like I don't
Probably
know,
more
like
than that.
yeah, I'm gonna say like 40 mil.
Chub.
We'll do 35.
All right. You guys are way more aggressive. I was with you to start with then too. The most expensive flip or flop house ever was $3.5 million was the sales price. So the house with the highest received profit on the show, Flip or Flop, located in Corona del Mar, California. Again, totally different market than Little Ohio here. The property was purchased for $1.4 million with approximately $500,000 invested in renovations. After the upgrades, the house was listed for sale for $3.5 million, making it one of the most significant flips sold. Tarek El Moussa, I'm friends with him on Facebook, I think, and Christina Hack, which are they together again? I don't know. They were not, and then they were, I think. Aren't they? No, I don't know.
Oh, that sucks. I didn't know that.
So the luxury upgrades and prime location contributed to its steep increase in value. So I'm sure there's probably some wild $20 million one or whatever,
Sure,
but
yeah.
that's just what I could come across here then too. So question for you guys, I guess, and for the audience for next week. What is the average percentage of return on investment, ROI, for a successful home flip in the United States? So what's the average return on investment?
And it's not a percentage, it's a number.
No, she said
It's a percentage. What's
Oh,
the average percentage of return for a successful flip in the U.S.? I'm sure some of them are not successful, which probably. So, successful home flip, what kind of ROI can they expect? Percentage.
Return on investment meaning the profit.
Yeah, how much
made.
did they make? Percentage.
How about 21%?
I was gonna say
Average.
like 15.
I was going to say 20, so I was probably...
All right. Well, you have to wait till next week to find out. So, all right. Well, we got some fun ones, new agent topics to cover next week or at some point here then too. We kind of like this format here. We kind of keep, going back and forth with the ideas. But until that's episode 8. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. We want some comments. We want to hear from you guys here then too. What do you want to hear from us? What kind of answers do you want? Trivia questions, whatever the case may be. And we're here in Ohio. You got anybody that wants to buy or sell real estate? We'd love to talk to you. We got a fantastic team here. We'd love to help you out there. If you guys are moving outside of the area, we can find you an awesome agent outside of the area then as well. So until next time, that is episode 8. Thank you for tuning in.